let's dive into today's topic. So, could you let us know, how do you think about growth systems and leads specifically?
So, first I'll attack the growth system
Sure,
question that you asked.
sure.
I see, I see growth as an outcome of different processes that have been coordinated to work well with each other, which is indirectly the definition of a system. I
Hmm.
don't see growth as something that you do once and you get the outcome once. That's more of a growth hack. But the problem with growth hack is you can't build sustainable companies out of growth hack. You can have spikes in your growth trajectory because of growth hacks.
Hmm.
But what you really need to understand as a growth leader is your responsibility is not just to come up with hacks or not to fall into trying to come up with the next hack. Your work is to figure out how to deliver systemic growth. And
Right.
systemic growth is sustainable and it's robust. That these are the two and scalable. These three things are very, very important. So I see growth as a combination of processes working together, which means a system that works even when you sleep. That's how
Okay.
you should see about it. So you have invested a lot of time in making that thing work, and now it's constantly working. You still have to spend time in calibrating it and adjusting it and maintaining it. But for a lot of it, it keeps delivering you success.
Also, particularly your case of Molecule, is it like your growth system from acquisition to the purchase, or like you provide lead to the sales team? Because I have background in like B2B SaaS, so my work is centered around that. How do you work around that?
Right. So in B2C marketing, we generally don't have that sales team approach.
Okay, okay.
We try and create multiple stories and multiple touch points with the consumer.
Hmm.
So in B2B, what you do is your ticket value is high.
Right.
So you introduce a personalized salesperson to tell the story in a very personalized way.
Hmm.
That's because your volume may be low, but your ticket size is high.
Right.
In most consumer marketing, if you look at any consumer marketing, right, you are really trying to talk to millions and millions of people at once. So your ticket price may be slightly lower, but your volume is high.
Right.
And then what you need to do is, I think that's a subtle difference between marketing's automation and say sales automation is
Right.
what's important for us is to constantly engage millions and millions of people and then thousands and thousands of people across the funnel in an automated way and help them basically travel the funnel in an automated way.
Right.
So we do not really have a sales team.
Okay, okay, understood. You right now just mentioned like your growth system needs to be repeatable, scalable, robust, and I also remember one point that was expansive. So, like, could you as you have advocated about this, could you explain more on this, like each of these 4 points? What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by so let's look at each of these points, right?
Right,
It has to be repeatable in the sense it shouldn't be a hack. It shouldn't be something that you've done once and now you can't do it again.
right,
Oftentimes people exploit a certain weakness in an ad platform. Now it's good that you found a weakness and you can exploit it. But one thing to keep in mind is you can't perennially be exploiting it. So if
hmm,
80% of your revenue is coming because Facebook favors a certain kind of a creative more than the other kind of a creative, and it's totally because of a systemic glitch, then one thing you need to keep in mind is at some point Facebook will fix that glitch. And then what do you do? Like the whole black hat SEO world was built upon, well, actually that's more robust. So I'll get to robust in a while.
sure,
But what I mean by repeatable is you cannot be relying upon one time hack
right,
that you can't repeat again, because then what you have done is you have shot yourself in the foot.
hmm,
You have delivered good results today, but you don't know how to deliver good results tomorrow,
okay,
and that's going to be bad for you. So that's the repeatable piece.
sure,
The scalable piece is you need to know you don't want to spend time on a channel or on some sort of a system that cannot scale. For example, say I do consumer marketing, right?
right,
So for me, it's important that I can sell thousands and thousands of units. And then that means that if I have two channels ahead of me,
hmm,
one channel potentially is perhaps more difficult to work with, but can deliver tens and thousands of units sold.
right,
The other channel is perhaps the same level of difficulty to work with, or slightly less difficult to work with, but can only deliver a few hundred units. It's imperative that you attack the 1,000 unit channel first and then go to the 100 unit channel.
okay,
So that's the scalable piece. There's a lot of fancy things that come in your way once you launch your own company. And
right,
you'll be like, this is so cool and I should do it. But you should also evaluate, is this scalable? If that's not scalable, there's no point doing it. That brings us to the third point, which is robust. Robust, what I mean by robust is you should be able to understand if whatever system you've put in place is going to last. Because if it's not going to last and you'll constantly have to keep upgrading what you're working on, then there's a problem. For example, the whole black hat SEO world was built on something that was Google's weakness, but it wasn't robust.
Right.
So the moment Google changed its algorithm, a bunch of companies just died.
Right.
Because it's not going to fly.
Right. Okay.
So that's about being robust. Are you too reliant on another platform? For example, Zynga. Zynga launched a ton of its games on Facebook, Farmville and blah blah blah, and then all it took Facebook was to change its algorithm or deprioritize Zynga, and now all of Zynga's growth was dead.
Right.
And by expansive, what I mean is what you learn in that channel should help you deliver success in some other channel. So what I mean by that is if you're spending too much time learning about your customers, but that is relevant only in that one channel, then that's not good for you. For example, in consumer marketing, what you learn from search engine marketing should help you do your work on Facebook advertising better. Or what you learn from Facebook advertising should allow you to handle retail stores better because you know what kind of audiences are people responding to in Facebook.
Right.
But oftentimes what you may have isolated channels that have nothing to do with each other. And then the problem of going after those channels first is even if you have success in those channels, you can't take that success and replicate it elsewhere.